My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey y'all, so it's that time again. I'm filming a video in which I talk about new releases and all my feelings about them. I have pulled up some new releases to talk about, and I did want to tell you before we start that I just filmed this makeup look as a chit chat get ready with me, and it's going to be going up tomorrow. So if you just must know what's on my face right now, stay tuned and you can find out. Which reminds me, I'm going to say something that I never say on my channel. Are you ready? Prepare yourselves. I hope you're sitting down. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're not subscribed to my channel, but you've been watching my videos, please subscribe. It will really help me out. All right, that's it. We're done for another 6 months, and then I'll ask you to subscribe again. Phew, that was hard. I think you all know the drill by now with these new releases videos. I just picked out the things that I felt like talking about. It's been a little bit weirder this week. I don't feel like there are as many trends to talk about. I haven't really observed the trends in the same way. And I also feel like all of like the Instagram accounts with the new makeup are just flooded with these holiday bundles. It's like, you know, a bunch of minis in a pretty box for still a lot of money, but less than you would normally pay for the full size of those products. We're entering the season where companies are really starting to push this idea, like, it's so exciting, you can get way more items for less amount of money than that number of items usually costs. But it's just a lie, because then you end up with a bunch of items, and that's not necessarily good to me. Like, a bunch of items isn't necessarily a value. And also, you end up spending the same amount of money or more money, because I feel like it's that sale impulse. Like, we're really driven to feel like we must take advantage of this really, really good deal. And in many cases, it causes us to spend money, literally the same exact chunks of money that we would ordinarily have not spent at all. Whether we wanted those products in the full size or not, it's like we would have refrained from spending that money if this business weren't going on with all of the little repackaging of tiny minis all together in boxes. And maybe I'll eat my words later in the season if a brand releases the exact holiday deal package, whatever, that I wanted. But so far, I've just been like, ugh, get away. So I'm not going to talk about any of those, but that's the only train that I wanted to talk about before we even get into the meat of the video. I just wanted to say that the thing that I noticed the most as I was trying to decide what it was I wanted to talk about in this video was that I was having to weed through this, you know, inundation of these to me extremely meaningless and unattractive deals. Okay, Grinchy rant over. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. In no order, because I was pulling things up. I was pulling up new tabs from Trend Mood, and they got all moved around and mixed around. So there's no rhyme or reason to this one. This time it's just really me talking about the things that I picked in no order. So the first one, though, is the one that I am the most, I thought I was going to say it's the one that I want, but then I saw the price and I was like, really, girl? Is that what we're doing? It is the mini. Pat McGrath is releasing these mini palettes, these quads, and they have the special shades in them. So you might remember me talking about how Pat McGrath has released big palettes, small palettes, mini, individual pans of eyeshadow, and until now, the only way that you could get your hands on that extraordinary special shade formula that everyone says is the thing that defines her brand, the only way was to buy a mothership palette. And I had commented on that in maybe 2 videos ago when I was talking about new releases. I was like, I think she's doing it on purpose. And then one of you in the comments were like, yeah, but she's coming out with quads for the holidays that have special shades in them. And I was like, I was like, you know, and this is it. And they look beautiful. You would think I would be more into the neutral one, and maybe if I saw them in person, I would. But that shade in the bottom right-hand corner of the colorful one, that sort of iridescent oil spilly looking one, ooh, that has my attention. But when somebody in the comments said she was going to be releasing these quads with the special shades, I was like, quads, that's great. They're going to be minis. I was imagining they would be like $45, $50 tops. Like I was thinking like Natasha Denona, the small, not the minis, but the like 5 pans, like the Camel palette size and price range. But these are $65. $65. That's the price of like a regular, very high-end eyeshadow palette. Regular size, regular number of shades. So it's a very luxury item, and I will probably put one on my Christmas wish list, but this just isn't, at this moment, having just found the listing, like just found the announcement on Trendmood. Wow, I feel like I'm really flubbing words today. We're in for it. I feel like we're in for a long haul with this video. Having just learned about this release is what I was trying to say. I don't think I'm gonna spend my own budget on it. If this exact quad were like in the $30, $40, maybe even under $50 range, I might use a quarter of my budget 1 month for this, because I just love special shades, not the Pat McGrath ones, but in general for me with eyeshadow, special shades is where it's at. Like that's really the only place I'm gonna put my money ever, if ever, again with eyeshadow. And so I was hoping that this would be something that would feel more like an offering to those of us who haven't bought the Mothership palettes because we feel like it's too much money for one item of makeup for us. But I feel like this is kind of in line with that. So, sod. The next thing that comes up is I just wanted to briefly touch on the Menagerie Cosmetics Lion palette. And I literally pulled this up to talk about because I don't like it. And I, again, want to continue. I feel like most of what I do in these will I buy it videos or do I want it videos is to muse about color and color combinations. And I just am like, why? I mean, there's something about those flat's not a good word. The green with the brown with the gray, they somehow look too mid-toned to me. Like the colors aren't sultry enough, or they're not they just don't look chic. I feel like they just don't look chic. Like they look like a beefy tea, like the colors of a beefy tea, rather than like the colors of a cashmere sweater. And now I'm connecting it to like luxury, but I don't really mean that. I feel like they look like the colors of a beefy tea as opposed to the colors of like the colors that like a more on point like indie t-shirt brand would come out with, even if they also had the same low price point as a beefy tee. I feel like I'm talking nonsense right now. Maybe I should not even have attempted to talk about why I don't like this palette. I feel like I'm unprepared. All right, I'm gonna try one more time. The colors just look to me, what has happened to my hair? Oh my God. I'm gonna try one more time. The colors to me do not have intrigue. Like, let's talk about this straight dark brown, or not the darkest brown, but the chocolate brown. If you were to add a little bit of red to that color, so it was like a slight red brown, or if you were to add a little green to that color, so it was that sort of murky greenish brown, or if you were even to add a gray to it, so it was that kind of, that color that's on the line between like charcoal and brown, where it's got that like, that crazy depth. Any of those three directions, or you could add a little yellow to it and you could make it like a slightly yucky, pukey brown. If you were to push it in any of those 4 directions, and probably some other directions that I can't think of off the top of my head, I would be into that color. I would be like, yeah, give me that color. I want to put it all over my eyes. But this is like the flattest, most neutral of that kind of brown. And I feel that way about almost all of these colors. So let's look at that green. It's very pretty. It's like this pretty khaki green. So it's ever so slightly on the khaki side instead of being super flat. But it just, to me, it needs to be pushed a little bit further in one of those directions. A little more in the yellow, just a tick more yellow, or a tick more kind of gray, or just a tick more. It just needs to be a little bit more icky, a little bit more something. The teal, which is such a beautiful color in here, I feel the same way about that. And I feel that way about literally all of these colors. And so to me, when you put them all together, they just look uninspired. Let's move on. Oh, let's talk about the Colourpop, the 4-3 Beauty, like lotiony, what's it called? Tinted moisturizer. This I'm interested in. I'm so interested because tinted moisturizer, as you can probably imagine if you know me, is my dream complexion product. And you might have asked yourself at some point over all of these years, why? I mean, this isn't what you would have asked yourself. This is what I'm asking myself. Why is my hair behaving this way? What I need to do is just put it and then stop touching it, because what's happening is it's got so much dirt and product and grit in it that when I touch it, it like becomes inordinately sculptural. So you might have asked yourself at some point over the course of our long history together, why doesn't Hannah use tinted moisturizer? It seems like that would be the kind of product that would be perfect for her aesthetic. And here's the reason. It's because tinted moisturizers usually have a very small range, and it's like, oh, like one color will work for everyone. And so that means that the lightest shade of tinted moisturizer is usually sort of a palish tan. You know what I mean? It's like that, it's a peachy, it's like a pale peachy color. And I need my complexion product to lighten my face, because my face is darker than the rest of my body because of redness and just general wear. So I want my face to be brightened in color. If I'm gonna put like a sheer wash of something over my face, it needs to be the lightest color that you find on me. It needs to be the color of my neck. And it needs to be able to put like a palifying sheen over the redness on my chin. So there just aren't tinted moisturizers that are that pale. And the closest thing, I mean, I've been using this 3CE white milk cushion from Yes Style. It's amazing. It's pure white. It's like a sheer pure white veil. And it does that for me. It brightens my complexion. It has been giving me little like bumps, so I think I might not be able to continue using it. I keep trying because I'm a fool and because I love the way that it looks. This is just to say, yes, I would love a tinted moisturizer, but I need one that's really pale. And they just don't make them because all the brands are like, oh, it's tinted moisturizer, so we only have to come out with 5 shades and we don't need to worry about those very pale people. It'll just work for them. It shears out. It'll just work for them, and it just doesn't. But Colourpop, or 4-3 Beauty, 4-3 Pop, Color Beauty, they came out with a very broad complexion range for tinted moisturizer, and the palest shade looks very, very white, and it looks like it might actually be that sheer brightening product on me. So I almost ordered this on the day of the launch because that's how excited I was about it, and that's how eager I was to try it. And then I was chatting with my friend Amanda from Makeup Just for Fun. Colourpop sent her the whole range, and she offered to send me the one that's my color because she only needs the one that's close to her color, so she is trying to give away all of the rest of the range that was sent to her. So that's really exciting, and I hope that she does decide to send it to me. If she doesn't, if she finds someone else to take hers off of her hands, I'll probably buy it because I really love finding like those dewy, sheer, very, very natural complexion products that suit me, and to me this is a unicorn. I mean, I don't know if any other like extremely pale skinned people out there feel like this, but to be able to actually try a tinted moisturizer and have it suit my skin tone, it's a rare problem to have. I think it's only if you're at the very, very, very far ends of the spectrum of skin tone that you have a problem like this. But I mean, it's a problem, you know what I mean? But it's a type of makeup from which I have been boxed out for my whole life. So I'm just really excited to see this release, and I'm by hook or by crook, I'll try it, whether Amanda sends it to me or I buy it. I'll probably try that. Brow, why did I pull this up? Oh, because it's ugly to me. The brow styler, I feel like I should rename this video to like Hannah Talks About Taste. Hannah muses about shape and style and color. So it's the new launch from, what's this brand called? Benefit. And I don't understand why it's like this. It's like it's like you went to Universal Studios and went to Harry Potter World and you were like, the wizard chooses the wand or something, and they were like, here you go. And you were like, Expelliarmus. It's so much packaging and it's so elaborate and it's so ridiculous for me for a brow product. I feel like a brow product is so utilitarian. Maybe I would understand it better if it were a lip product or even like a cream blush or some kind of, I don't know, or like a tool, like an actual brush that you wash and use and wash and use. But to me, a brow product is something that you buy and then you use it up like pretty quickly. I just don't need a brow pencil, something so utilitarian, to take up this much space and to be this much of a physical statement. It's weird to me. And I think that this is why I wanted to talk about it. This has come from, it grows out of my new way of thinking about the different categories of makeup that has come from my know by year. So I think now about like short-term staples and long-term staples. Short-term staples are things like brow products, not concealer because that tends to be long-term for me, but mascara, brow products, things that I'll like go through, you know, 1 to 3 months and have to repurchase several times a year. And to me, if it's a short-term staple, first of all, it means you're throwing it away every couple months. So I want it to have as little packaging as possible. I really don't want to be like throwing this big plastic chunky thing away every couple of months. And I also want it to be as inexpensive as possible. So like, let's minimize the packaging so that people don't have to pay so much, like the same amount that you would pay for a luxury lipstick or a high-end lipstick, you're paying for a brow product. But a high-end lipstick lasts years. Like you can't use up a lipstick unless you wear the same one every day. But a brow product lasts months. So it just doesn't make sense to me. And I do understand why the makeup community, or why the brands are doing it. They're trying to market it as something that is like an investment, or that's like a precious thing to own, and like, but a brow product is never going to be that for me. And I just think it just makes me roll my eyes a little bit, and it definitely makes me not want to buy it. Not like I would anyway, because I'm all down at the like $5 mark for brow pencils. Okay, let's talk about the Nervina palettes. I basically just have one. Well, I have two things to say about this. Of the three of them, the newest one is the one I like the most, the color story of it, but I still don't like it. I don't like any of the three of them for reasons similar to my discussion of like that Safari Lion palette. It's just that I feel like most of the colors in most of these palettes are not tainted enough for me, which is fine. I mean, to each her own. It's just good that like none of them, I want none of them. They don't make me want to buy them. That's like lucky break for me. But the thing that I did want to mention, I'm always trying to think about like what people aren't saying that I'm thinking about these releases. My hair, it's doing that like helmet. It's going like, so everyone's talking about these releases, everyone's talking about everyone's feelings about these releases. And I feel like the thing that I keep thinking that I haven't heard anyone say yet is that I don't understand the like righteous indignation about the gall of Anastasia to release so many new palettes all at once. I do understand the confusion because it's a total about face from their former behavior. And I do understand the slight disappointment because it's like, oh, we thought Anastasia was one of those brands that was giving us the impression that they were more careful with the time that they took to release each thing, that each thing had more time to breathe. We had sort of characterized them as that, and then they suddenly came out of the gate like not that. And so I understand people being like, what? Our heads are spinning. Like, of course, it's not nonsensical for it to be confusing and to talk about the fact that something has changed with this brand. But the thing that I don't understand is when people are like, how could they do this to us? They're forcing us to spend all this money. It's so unfair. If you start to feel that way, if you decide that if you have one, you have to collect them all, you're disconnecting like your purchases and your makeup from your actual taste, and you're putting the power into the hand of the brand. And you're saying like, anything that you release, I'll buy it because that's just what I do. And so you're not buying based on what you actually like and want and what you will actually use. And I feel like that's a shame because, at least for me, I know that I want that money to go towards things that I'm actually going to like and use, the money that I would be spending if I were a completionist and I had to like complete my collections of all of these palettes. When people are like, this is so rude of them to release all these palettes, how could they do this to us? They don't understand. Some people don't have this much money. That way of talking about this is sitting on the premise of the expectation that people buy every palette that Anastasia releases just without thinking about it. And I want to go deeper and undermine that premise, right? I don't want to just be like, OMG, they're releasing so much stuff. I want to be like, yeah, it doesn't matter that they're releasing so much stuff. You still have the power to only buy the things that you like. And even if you do want to collect all 3 of these palettes at some point, you don't have to buy them right now. So it doesn't matter that they released all of them at once. A lot of brands do that. But Anastasia has sort of developed this like collectible, gotta catch them all type of reputation. I feel like a lot of people have that relationship with Anastasia. And so the problem isn't Anastasia then suddenly releasing 3 palettes that are so expensive that add up to so much money. It's not their problem. If it's a problem for you, then the problem is going through life just considering yourself someone who always buys the Anastasia palettes as soon as they release. If you identify as that, if you self-identify that way, then you are completely at the mercy of this brand to get as much money from you as they want at any given moment in the year, ever. And that is no way to live, because what they'll do is then they'll turn around and take advantage of that, and they'll do it. And that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to get a ton of money for some reason. I've heard some people say that they think that they might be going to be bought out, so they're trying to like have amazing sales right now and all that stuff. It's not something that it's like, how could they do this? Because it's not their responsibility to only release things spread out enough so that you can afford to buy them all. It's your responsibility to only buy the things that you can afford and the things that you'll enjoy. So I'm not trying to like defend Anastasia or something, because I think all of these palettes are ugly and I think they're ridiculous and I think they're kind of misguided. Like it's kind of, they're besmirching their own reputation by doing this, because everyone's like, what are you doing? So I actually do think that the brand is like misstepping a little bit. But I just wanted to address, I hope I've been clear. I feel like I've been really not clear, but I hope I've been clear that I wanted to address the ridiculousness of the like righteous indignation with which I've seen some people talk about this triple release. I wanted to touch on the Hoody Beauty Power Bullet Throwbacks collection, beautiful retro shades. I just think they are beautiful. The colors, I just think the colors are so beautiful. I'll totally swatch these in store if I get a chance, especially the ones that aren't pink. The pink ones don't interest me as much, but the brown ones, the taupes, the purples, like I'm just so about that. And I probably won't buy one or ask for one for Christmas or whatever, but I might swatch them in store because they're really cool. And I don't know, maybe I'll fall in love with one. But they just, I mean, Hoody Beauty is, again, it's like not a brand that I seek out or that I get super excited about, or when there's a launch I'm like, ooh, which one am I gonna buy? I just don't have that kind of relationship with Hoody Beauty. I'm not against the idea of maybe someday trying one of her lipsticks, but I just felt like this collection was worth touching on because I feel like it's just a little bit different. Like she's doing, a lot of people have been releasing like a spread of nudes to diversify our lip colors. Like that's been happening. It's like a little, that's a train. That's a train that's been happening over the past couple of months. So she's on that train. But the fact that they thought about them as like vintage shades or throwback shades, and they phrased it that way, and they are characterizing the collection that way and advertising it that way, I just think that that's spot on. I like it. Okay, the Trend Mood box. I feel like this just got announced. I haven't seen anyone talking about it, and I'm not going to talk about it at length because I have no use for subscription boxes. And I know that some people really love them. I feel like, you know, I've been thinking a lot about my feelings about PR and my sort of like the way in which, all right, we need a minute. I've been thinking a lot, as I always do, about my channel and the way that I run it and the way that I like have set up my project and all of this stuff. And so I've been thinking about the fact that for me, and I've talked about this like in my PR videos, for me, getting PR doesn't really soften my desire to buy the things that I want, because it's hard for me to get really excited about a thing unless I picked it. Like, unless I really, really picked it and I want it and I want to buy it and I want to spend my money on it. So I've even had situations where like I've really wanted something and I've thought about buying it, and then I've sort of like decided against buying it, and then I've gotten it in PR, gotten it as a gift, and then I just don't love it as much because I didn't pick it, because I didn't like decide that it was worth my buying. And that's part of why I stopped receiving subscriber gifts, because that was happening kind of a lot, and then I was ending up with all this stuff that I had at one time wanted but then just didn't cherish as much as I cherished the things that I bought myself. So I'm just a person who wants to pick her own stuff. Like, I want the things that I intentionally bring into my life to be things that I selected, and buying a thing is like the ultimate form of selecting it. Now, this is not to say that there aren't PR items that I end up falling in love with and being really glad that I got to test. That does happen, and that's part of why I'm continuing to receive PR, even though I feel the way that I just said. And also, it's all still new to me, and I'm still sort of figuring it out. But that is the reason that I don't like subscription boxes, and I don't like the idea of subscription boxes. I have friends who love them. Like Lauren, for example, receives BoxyCharm, and she talks about it on her channel. She loves getting surprised by new product and trying it out and getting to be like, wow, like I never would have bought this. I never thought I wanted to try it, but now I'm getting to try it and it's so exciting. And sometimes she loves the stuff and sometimes she doesn't, and sometimes she gives it away. But to her, the experience of that receiving and trying is valuable enough to be worth paying for. For me, it's not worth the money, because I would much, much, much rather save that money and put it towards something that I chose. And I don't like the idea of spending money and then having things forced on me that I didn't choose. So this is just to say, I've talked about this in the past. I have a whole video about subscription boxes, which I'll link. I guess I'll link it down below. I've stopped linking things in the cards because nobody clicks on the cards, but I'll link it down below. It's like an old video, but it's really old. It's like humiliatingly old at this point. But I explain it really thoroughly in that video. And I've come to realize since then that not everyone feels that way. Some people love subscription boxes for the reason I just described, and I totally understand and respect that. And it's also the reason I started talking about PR is because thinking about why some people love subscription boxes has helped me shed light for myself on why it's hard for some people to understand why PR doesn't like mean that much to me when it comes to my budget, and it doesn't like help assuage my desire to buy the things that I want. It's the subject of another video and some past videos, and I'm sure some future videos, but this is all just to say that when I saw this Trend Mood subscription box, I was like, okay, so Kimchi, the drag queen Kimchi, is starting a beauty brand. And just like I said with the RuPaul X Mally Beauty collection last time, even though I love Drag Race and I love drag queens and I love Kimchi, and I've seen Kimchi live actually, you know, she's just spectacular. I love everything about her. Even though that's true, I'm not even vaguely interested in trying this collection. I'd be interested to see it and swatch it, and I'm like curious about how it's going to go, how the release is going to go. I will follow her future career with great interest, but looking at it, it doesn't strike me as being up my alley. For example, the Miss Fame palette, that was way more my style than the Kimchi stuff. I'm very interested in it, but for reasons that have nothing to do with like me wanting to actually buy the makeup. I'm just curious about it. I think it's cool. I want to talk about it, and I'm not going to buy it. I don't want it, but good for Kimchi. It's awesome. Why did I? But I pulled up this Lancome holiday release, and actually I am now talking about one of those like collect them all bundle things that I said that I wasn't going to talk about, that I wasn't interested in, and I'm not actually interested in like buying any of this. I think I just wanted to talk about this because I've been so impressed by Lancome lately. I've gotten a couple of things through Octoly from them to try, a blush, a mascara. I still have like an eyeshadow palette that they sent me that has some cream shadows in it, and I just find that the colors are very sophisticated and beautiful, and I'm almost starting to think of Lancome with the same kind of respect for their color and tone choices that I used to think of NARS before NARS kind of like lost me. But So when I saw this, I see they're releasing like a blush, maybe some kind of blush palette that looks really beautiful, blushy highlighter, and then these like iridescent highlighters, and then these collections of one's like a nude lipstick box set and one's like a sort of red and pink lipstick box set. And I just have, like, I think past Hannah would have been like, not even looked twice. It would have just been like, oh, boring Lancome makeup. And now, having gotten the chance to try some of these things, I'm interested in this. I'm curious about the reviews. I'd be curious to swatch it in store. I'm especially curious about those nude lipsticks, that like brown nude lipstick pack. Not curious enough to want to buy any of this stuff, but just curious enough about it to want to talk about it in this video, because I have an increased respect for Lancome. I don't think that they are as dusty as I formerly considered them to be. Oh, the Manny release. This is the funniest thing since toothpaste extra spicy gingerbread. I think Manny is pranking us. First the strawberry dreams, and then this. This is a gag. This is an actual gag. He's got this like dark, smoky, like occult implication book palette on the cover, and it's just like gold and black, and it has the hand and it has like all the little things, and it's so, and you just know that it's gonna be this like grungy, gritty, smoky with at least like a black and a dark greenish brown in it, and like a really shimmery, rich, glittery gold. You just know that it's gonna be like that, and you're like, ooh yeah, Manny, give it to me. And then you see the inside of the palette, and it's like a Care Bear designed it. It's like a witch designed the cover and a Care Bear designed the eyeshadows. After doing the Strawberry Dreams, the #1 reaction, the #1 review of that Strawberry Dreams business on YouTube was, I was so excited by the cover, and then the inside looks so different from the cover. What are you doing, Manny? And instead of taking that feedback and doing better at matching the inside to the outside, he literally, it's the most deceiving, surprising inside to outside palette relationship in history. Can I say that? In history. It's like Nabla Poison Garden, bye. Strawberry Dreams, eat your heart out. This one takes the cake. It is too funny. I can barely live. Makeup Revolution. So I've never talked about Makeup Revolution. I've never owned anything from Makeup Revolution. I've never been interested in Makeup Revolution, except for that weird skull, the red skull highlighter. If I saw that in store, I'd like to touch it. But they just released these 2 really pretty palettes. They're just really pretty. I'm gonna put them up on the screen right now. They're just, I think part of why I think they're so pretty is that they've got those, maybe that top one is a dupe for the Huda Beauty New Nudes, because it's got those like crushed looking pearls in some of the pans. I just think this is pretty. The packaging, the colors, I don't trust the formula. I don't know anything about the quality of the formula, but I was scrolling through Trend Mood and everything seemed so blah, and this is one of the only things I saw that really made me like sit up and take notice. So I just felt like it was worth throwing in here because, again, because like the point of this video is for me to talk about my taste, and this is to my taste. I think that it's really pretty. Oh, and then the last thing, holy actual bananas, like actual bananas. This stopped me in my tracks when I was scrolling through Trend Mood. I'm gonna put the picture up on the screen. It's these palettes that look like planets. I have never thought it was a good idea to have the pans free floating rather than in some geometrical shape in like an eyeshadow palette, but it works in this one. How beautiful are these? This was such a good idea. It's such an original idea, and they're so beautiful, and they look so much like like planets, and the way that they've set them in this background, and you can tell that there's like glittery pigment in it, and even the little round ones like the green and the blue and the red that are mattes or regular metallics. I just feel like the color balance is so yummy, like delicious. It's cool. It's this brand called Ditto, I think. it looks like it should be pronounced Ditto or Dido, because Ditto is D-I-T-T-O, but my guess is it's pronounced Ditto. And I've never heard of them before. I don't know anything about them. I even looked at their website to try to like find out what their deal is. But I kudos. Kudos, Dipto Cosmetics, because you've done something. Like, to me, this is the kind of thing that puts a brand on the map in the way that Glamlight put themselves on the map with those like pizza and burger palettes. I feel, I mean, I haven't seen anyone talking about this yet, but my suspicion is that this brand is going to get onto the map with this release, because wow, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I never feel this way, but I'm sort of tempted to like buy it to review it, because I don't usually get like tingles in my stomach just from sort of the visual presentation of a palette, or the idea of it, or the concept, like the sort of out of the box concept. Like, I had no desire to review those Glamlight palettes or anything in that realm, but this has really got my attention. And maybe I like am nostalgic about going to the planetarium as a child or something, but I think it's the quality of the surface of those like swirled glitter shadows and the collage aspect of it. It's sort of like a grungy, layered but still colorful idea, and that's the idea of like stratification of gases and glitter and stars and rocks. That's my makeup aesthetic. So I think that there's something very resonant to me about this, and that's why I'm sitting up and taking notice. I'm very, very curious to see if other people feel the same way about this. I'm going to be watching everyone's will I buy it videos like a hawk over the next week or two, because I really want to hear what other creators have to say about this. I want to hear other people's opinions, and I'm also really curious to see reviews of this palette, because gosh, it took my breath away. Of all the things I talked about this week, this is the one that has kind of excited me the most. It's so original and it's so pretty. That is it. I know there's a lot that I didn't talk about, but there's a lot that I don't care about. And there's a lot that I feel like I don't have much to say about, except like, this is boring to me, or this doesn't interest me, or this brand, or it just seems like a holiday money grab, or blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think that the things I didn't talk about, I feel like I didn't talk about them because you guys probably know exactly what I would say. So you don't need to hear me do it. And if I talked about everything, this video would be 10 miles long. It's probably already 8 miles long. And that's why we're stopping right now. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to chatting with you in the comments down below this video. And I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself this week, so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in